Hey guys, Prof Sales.
Hi, and Karen.
And we're coming at you with a video in what seems like forever.
It's been a really long time.
How? It's been a week, right?
Yeah.
It's only been a week, but man, it seems longer. And so here we are. Let me make sure we got our devices turned down. You have yours turned down there, rookie?
I do. Thank you very much. I made sure all the volumes were turned on.
I'm not even sure I have mine turned down, so I want to make sure. But hope you guys are doing well. We obviously have a few things to talk about. We have an interesting show topic, I think.
A little tongue-in-cheek, perhaps, but yes. eBay couples therapy. Welcome to our couch.
Yeah, sorry about the echo. Should be better now. I think I turned the volume down on the Mac, so I think it was coming back through the microphone. That happens every once in a while. So yeah, it's been a week since we had a show.
And we missed Friday. We missed Friday, but we also missed Friday. Thank you, Yvonne. We missed you too.
Well, I wouldn't say we missed it, Bob.
Oh, gosh.
Do you know what that movie is? I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob. If you know that movie, type it in the chat. Movie reference. But yeah, so let us know how our sound is. Someone said there was a little bit of an echo, but hopefully we should have resolved that by turning down the volume on the Mac.
Yeah, it's like our week. Either our weekend doesn't go well, or we start off bumpy if we skip a Friday or a Monday. So there was no way that we were going to skip today. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally right.
Nope, it's not Happy Gilmore. Good guess, though.
Isn't that on the right track?
Office Space. Mark got it. Nice. Very well done, Mark. Office Space. Great movie.
We live that movie sometimes, do we not?
There's a lot of life lessons in that movie. I hate to say it, but it's true.
I love my stapler. Just saying.
Yeah, burn the building down. But anyway, yeah.
We digress as usual.
So this past week has, what about Bob? Nice try.
That's actually a movie. What about Bob?
That is a movie. It was shot near where I grew up, actually.
Really?
It was.
So we're starting the week off here, which is how to make everything right in our universe, how every successful week must start for us, yeah?
Right. And we had an interesting week.
Yeah, we did.
So we're not going to go into a ton of detail on it, guys, but we actually, we had some things that came up in our personal lives, not between us necessarily, but just in general, that we had to attend to. And that was part of the reason we didn't have a show Friday, honestly. And I don't want to go into a ton of detail. Everything's fine. Nobody's, sick or dying or anything like that. But just some stuff came up and we had to handle it. But it kind of led us into this show topic, which we'll get to here in a moment.
Yeah. So life happens, and sometimes life has to take center stage and everything else has to be put on hold. So yeah, don't read more into that other than we can't tell you everything about everything all the time, and we're okay. Yep,
we're good.
That's a book too. I'm okay, you're okay.
I'm okay, you're okay. Anyway,
has nothing to do with today's topic though.
No, it doesn't.
No,
it really doesn't. But
everybody drink.
So people in the chat, there's a lot of people here already, 45 people. Vintage Grab is here. Henry's here. Janetta, Large Bargains, Yvonne, Zerk. CJ is here. I think Lonnie's here. Mark Patterson, Lock Lee.
Large, Henry.
A Purple Lily, Linda Glass. Who else am I missing here? Lauren's here.
Oh, hey, Lauren.
And probably somebody else I'm missing, but anyway.
Yeah, we did Garage. Cool.
Yes.
Hi, Chris. What's up? Wait, did I do that wrong? What's up, yo?
I don't know, but I'm just going to say yes.
Thank you. I'm down with all my reseller hand jive. See, this is what people love the best.
All right,
so we just go somewhere crazy with all
that. This is why people are like, I wish you guys would talk about the topic.
We don't even know what the topic is some days, so cut us some slack. We're doing good just to make sounds come out of our mouth.
Yeah, some days the topic is just to get through the show.
Get through the topic is, yeah, there you go.
But we're going to talk about a couple things, and the first thing we want to talk about, I don't have any laying here, shoe strategy.
Because they're in the shoe department.
They're in the shoe department.
A place for everything in its place. If you guys know one thing, it's that we have organization around here.
What would you say is our shoe strategy? That was very loud.
Was that?
probably really loud in their ears.
Hello.
So what would you, what would you say our shoe strategy is?
Grab all the thingies. Grab all the shoeies. No. What do you mean what our shoe strategy is?
I just was testing you.
It's new. So we're going to jump in with both feet and educate ourselves. We have an area like we would with anything. We have an inventory structure.
We have, let's see, I need to do it so they can see it, I guess. We have 12 shoes listed.
Is that how you would make it 12?
Well,
actually, watch. I'll do 10.
Well, to me, it's 12, but to them, it would probably be this.
Just pull up 2 fingers.
But then it's reversed, so it's really throwing me off. But anyway, we have 12 shoes listed, and we're making all right, we're going to combine these two bullet points because they're related. We're making a shoe video, guys. Now, let me just say that we are not experts at shoes. But we did stay in a Holiday Inn Express last night. So
we think we're pretty darn smart about it. Thank you very much.
But we decided to make a video to kind of show you guys what we've learned and what we're doing. And also it's for us too. I mean, we're learning from, that process. So we've started shooting footage for that. It's not going to be a live video, guys. It's going to be, just a pre-shot video and so on.
And you're going to thank us that it wasn't live. Once you see the video,
we were going to do it live, and I was like, this is not going to work.
Jason's like, yeah, we should clean these in the moment, and it would be so much better because then we don't have to worry about editing. And trust me on this one, people.
It would be boring.
You would be boring. I'm not.
Well, yeah, but we decided that shooting a shoe video would be cool, but at the same time we needed to have some interesting elements to it and break it up instead of just shooting one long 2-hour video. But what we've done is we've started shooting it, and we've bought probably about 25 or 30 pair of shoes so far.
Oh gosh, at least, yeah.
And we've listed almost half of them. So that's a pretty good start until kind of events hit us last week and we couldn't continue. But we are going to finish up that video this week, right?
Yes. Yeah, there's only a couple. We just have to edit it and put it all together. But like with everything that we do, it's important that we're not just going to show you, oh, we bought this and it was this much money and we're going to sell it maybe for this much money. And yeah, we want to also talk about what we were thinking and why we did what we did and how we did what we did. And I got to tell you, it was so much fun. And we talked afterwards about what we each liked about the process, and there's something, and of course it goes without saying, mad props to Tino, because a friend of ours that we've met through reselling, we talk about him and his channel all the time.
Check him out. You can see the video we did with him a couple months ago. Tino, his channel is the Soul Advisor, I think, is his channel.
Yes,
and it's really good.
But
so check that out.
We talked about afterwards, because our base of knowledge is what we do with jeans. That's where we've started. And actually we've talked before about our base of knowledge is our life experience, right? And for whatever reason, we've decided to buy heavier on the jeans, and then the other stuff is just icing, fluff, whatever, extras. But with the shoes, we used a lot of the same methodology. I even got to use my sweater shaver on a pair of mules that was pretty cool, and it made a huge difference because it was a embroidered cloth pair. But there is therapy in making something new again. There is great therapy in a job well done and feeling like you've accomplished something. And one of the things we did is we just took these 12, and we took before pictures of every shoe. I took after pictures of every shoe, and was remarkable in some cases. It was a completely different shoe by the time we were done with it. And I found myself because I got to tell you, this whole listing thing, I'm not a big fan. And since we're being honest, I don't like it so much. It's probably why I'm struggling and fighting to do it on my own, it's just not something I enjoy doing. The cleaning up the shoes, I felt more accomplished when we were done. And especially with those couple pair of the leathers where we were able to literally bring them back to life.
Right.
We're not buying shoes that are so far gone, they're going to take an hour of our time to make better. So we're buying correctly, or buying as well as we can prior to, and then we're just tweaking them and making them better. But that was a big thing for me. I felt it was just time well spent. It wasn't, I didn't feel like a hamster on a wheel. I felt like we had a task to do and we did really well at it. And it was fun.
Yeah, and it's so interesting that you say, and here's where you have different perspectives, guys. It's so interesting. She says that she doesn't feel the listing part of it. Okay, I can appreciate that, and that's the part that I pretty much do. I'm not a big fan of the cleaning part. And the reason I'm not a fan of it is because I've gotten spoiled, because jeans, for the most part, come ready to go. There's very little usually you have to do to them if you buy a pair that are without a lot of defects or problems to start with, because we're not into washing them. We're not into doing major repairs or even minor repairs, you know, fixing zippers or restitching things. So we've been sourcing jeans in the sense, in a way that we are able to get them, check them over one more time, photograph them, list them, and be done with them. That is not the case with shoes. I guess there probably are shoes you can do that with. You're still probably gonna have to wipe them off because they're gonna get dusty. They were sitting in someone's house maybe, or storage building, and now they've been sitting in a thrift store or a yard sale or wherever you're getting them for. But we're learning that you have to clean them. So we batch that together, which I think makes the most sense. Mm-hmm. Why are you smiling?
Well, because you know, cleaning is kind of what a relative subjective term. You know, we and somebody asked how long we would actually spend cleaning an item. And, you know, in true analysis paralysis, I mean, objective looking at how we do what we do, we did kind of come up with, you know, how long it takes us to process jeans. We did a similar mock-up on shoes, and it's probably not taken us, what, more than 5 minutes a shoe, if that?
Probably less than that.
Yeah, less than that. But we don't spend a lot of time. We didn't, you know, we really didn't have any. And we've encountered shoes with yuck, for lack of better, you know, spider webs and mold and things like that. You know, there are some issues and hurdles we're just not going to be able to overcome.
Right.
But the shoes that we had, I think we bought smart. And we've sort of started, like, similar to how we did jeans. We had a little circle of brands that we know and love and we're familiar with. And then we started branching out from there. And we're having to, in the moment, on the fly, look things up while we're outsourcing,
right,
in the moment,
right,
do some comps repair. No. We're going to have to do some comparisons based on sold similars, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, so that's what we've done.
And we think, guys, after we do all this, that we can clean a pair of shoes, photograph a pair of shoes, and list a pair of shoes in probably 12 minutes. We'll get quicker at that. We've come up with a pretty good photo system, which Tino looked over and he thought was a great setup as well. And we'll see if we actually sell any. We haven't sold any of those 12 yet. But I got to tell you guys, I mean, the profit margin in shoes is attractive for sure. Mm-hmm. And when you think about the amount of time we put in, if we can get up to even just a minimum of 5 per hour, I think we can hit a pretty good hourly rate with that. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, right now we're splitting that between 2 people, but I think one person could do 5 an hour if they're if once you're kind of up to speed. It's not that long, and some shoes don't require that much cleaning at all. The cleaning is kind of the big time suck to me. And right now, the other big time suck, guys, and this is the way it is whenever you start switching to a new area. I don't know what a lot of shoes are called. I don't know what the types are. I don't know the brands that well, and I certainly don't understand the pricing. But those are all hurdles that can be overcome with research and experience. So it's not like all of a sudden I have to get a better jump shot so I can be in the NBA, or I have to grow 6 inches taller so that I can play, you know, shooting guard. But it's things that you can accomplish. It's things you can learn. And I think that the market for shoes is maybe not as seasonal as jeans. I think that the profit margin is certainly higher let me back up. The total profit per item is certainly higher. Maybe not the margin, but the total per item is higher. And we realistically can get them pretty cheap. We think we can get on average around $300 to $350 a pair, even thrifted, just between all of our sources. So we are definitely moving in that direction. We're still expanding our jean inventory. Mm-hmm. That is not.
That hasn't stopped. because jeans slows down for us, we talk about this all the time. We've got to have something else besides the other things that we do. As far as eBay sales are concerned, we have to have other items, and whether it's hard goods or shorts or shoes. And, you know, somebody asked about, is it, or the acquisition is more? No, we're actually paying less for shoes than we are for jeans. So that's
in some cases.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say we're paying that less. I'd say it's pretty comparable.
Well,
it depends. It depends, like on average, because to Karin's point, if you get a pair of shoes at the bins, for instance, a pair of shoes at the bins doesn't really weigh. It depends on which ones you get. Now, if you get boots, they're going to weigh like 3 pounds. You know, you're going to pay in our bins close to $5 for them. A little less. But if you get, say, women's shoes or even men's loafers, things like that, a lot of those are 3 pounds or less.
Mm-hmm.
So you're only going to end up paying $4 to maybe $2.50 to $4 a pair. That's pretty cheap, especially when you talk about maybe an average sale price of $30 or even $40 in a lot of cases. I mean, that's a pretty good amount of gross profit per jeans. But
Mm-hmm.
I get what you're saying about the cost is comparable. Jeans tend to be around $2 at the bins. Our blended jeans cost between bins
Mm-hmm.
and thrift stores and dollar stores and here and there is more like $3.25 a pair. So shoes are comparable in that sense. They're maybe a tad higher, but it's not like they're double or anything like that. But we did see some good shoes today for sale. You want to tell your little story about the boots?
The ones that we didn't buy?
Yeah.
Holy moly. So Goodwill gets a little attached, and
Just a little.
that's why we call it the love case, right?
The love case. The case of love. That sounded bad.
So a pair of boots, cowgirl boots, Ariat boots, that were pretty sharp looking. I asked to see the price, and I had to do a double take. They wanted $74.99 for this pair of
used boots, pre-owned boots.
And while, you know, and that particular brand, ARIAT, like lariat, but without the L. Anyway, while they're kind of all over the place and the better leather boots do well, 75 was just out of the question. And it's cute because the girl that got them out of the love case for me,
yeah, I
mean, you could just see it on her face. She knew that I was probably going to fall over when I looked at the price, but we looked, and some, you know, we have some parameters on starting shoes, and we're not going crazy. We're not paying more than $5 a pair right now.
Right.
And we have a couple of thrifts, non-Goodwill thrifts here that have half off shoe day. And, you know, those rock climbing shoes, we're going to highlight a pair of rock climbing shoes that I think I paid $2 for. And we're going to sell them for, I don't even remember what we sold them for, but, you know, do you remember? A lot.
The which ones?
The orange ones, the rock climber shoes.
I think we're like 30 or something like that.
Oh, I thought
35 or maybe 35.
I thought they were more than that.
No, they were about that.
Okay. So anyway, not the best example, but that particular pair was interesting.
Yeah, and Yvonne says the Goodwill is watching our BOLO list. But here's what's interesting, Yvonne. In the case of these boots, that wasn't even realistic price for eBay. I mean, you saw one pair around 70, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But here's the problem, guys. And this is why I don't get too crazy about Goodwill prices and them getting all these ideas from thrifters and resellers. Goodwill has two basic types of customers. They have the people who come in there regularly or even semi-regularly, even once in a while, just looking for good deals. They're looking to buy stuff for their family, themselves, and they're looking to get it at a good, cheap price, okay? Name brand, not name brand, whatever, doesn't matter. And the other customer they have are resellers, people like us, mm-hmm. who are coming there looking to find things that we can resell for a good profit, given the time and energy and capital we put into them. When you price boots at $75 that don't even really sell for $70, you're not going to appeal to either one of those groups. No reseller who has half a brain is going to buy those. And certainly no one is coming there thinking, oh, these are a great deal because they're in the love case and I've got to have those for $75. I mean, $75 at a Goodwill is a high price for anything. Like if you look at I bet the number of prices in the average Goodwill that are $75 plus, I don't even know if it's 1% of the items in there. I'd be very surprised if it was 1%. So that doesn't really make a lot of sense for them to price that high. And that's why I don't worry too much about them getting up, because those boots will go back down, or better yet, they'll send them to bins and somebody will pick them up for like $2.50 given the bin price.
Yeah.
And that'll be that. I mean, I just think the chances of those boots, and I've seen shoes, especially setting these cases for months and months and months, because Goodwill had them priced so high that neither one of their two core customer groups were going to buy them. So I just don't worry about that much. I mean, now if they came in and said, you know, tomorrow all jeans are, which in our area are $4.99, they said they're $8.99, that would be a problem. I mean, I could still find value there, but it would severely cut down the number of jeans that we would get. And they would still appeal to some of their core customers, but that's a pretty big price hike to go from $5 to $9. I mean, that's a huge jump. That's like 80%. So I just don't think that, you know, I know they look at prices somewhat, but the way they price things in these love cases and these love racks, there's no logic to it. I mean, there just isn't. There's just no way you can justify. It's not even how much. Sometimes they price them too low. You know, they'll have items in a love case for $10. They're going for $80. You know, and there's just no rhyme or reason to it. So I just think they make it up as they go. I honestly believe that.
Well, and moral of the story is, you know, if you're wanting some comic relief, a little levity in your day, go check out the love case. Might be financially worth your while as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got to remember, guys, and I've gone through this before on my channel, the powers that be at Goodwill or Savers or any of these stores, they know who their customers are. Their customer is not a premium price customer. It's just not. I mean, that's not who. If they want to change their business model to that, they should open up the boutiques like they have at our bins, you know, and then try to price some things higher. But I think that's a risky business strategy for them, because it would be going completely away. I mean, if you asked 100 average citizens their perception of the quality and the pricing of Goodwill, it is not going to be high quality, high prices. I mean, it's just not. So you're fighting against decades of mentality there that you would have to change. And I'm sorry, just because you throw prices on something doesn't mean people are going to pay it. It's just, it doesn't work that way. You know, I mean, people are smart. They have tools to research and they don't walk in the door expecting to spend $75 on a pair of boots. Not the average person who walks in Goodwill, not the average reseller, not the average just regular thrift store customer. There's just no way. So
yes, we're going to sell shoes. We're going to get them from all over the place. Back to Rob's, you know, his daily estate sale suggestion. Yes, our estate sale should start anytime now. You know, we just had snow, right? That kind of came and went overnight.
Yeah, snow.
So I'd say no, we had a couple inches of snow and then it went away. But anyway, now that that's done, estate sales, yard sales, that'll kick in, and yes, we will most definitely take advantage of that. We're, you know, our goal for shoes is not going to be, we don't want to sell anything shoe wise that's going to go for less than $30. That was what we agreed on, right? Yeah,
that's our goal, to try to sell shoes that we think we can get $30 for. I'm also experimenting, guys, with some, I know you guys are going to be like, what, Prof? Some free shipping.
How dare you change your mind?
I know. I'm insane. I mean, somebody stop me. I need an intervention.
You're off the chart.
I've even tried on some jeans too. And the only reason I'm doing it, guys, is because I know I'm heading towards a slow time of the year for jean sales and some clothing in general. So I'm just trying to move items. And with shoes, it's a little trickier. I've been talking to Tino about this, and it's tricky because shoes can be expensive to ship because they usually weigh more than jeans. And so if you're shipping something across the country, it's not cheap. But, you know, my cost to ship to Alaska, I think I figured out the other day, was it a 1 to 2 pound range or 2 to 3? I can't remember.
I thought you did 2 to 3.
Was only like $10.30. So while that's not cheap, don't get me wrong, I think you can figure that into your You're pricing in a way that makes sense if you want to do some free shipping on shoes. You've got to be careful, though, guys, to make sure that you understand that worst case, that pair of shoes is going to go to the most expensive place to ship to, and you're going to pay the maximum. So you've got to kind of think about that when you make your price. But you know, there's a decent amount of shoes that sell with free shipping. When I look through the solds, and you know, I don't know if it's half or more. I have no idea. But anyway, we're going to experiment with a little bit of it. It may blow up spectacularly in our face.
And here's the thing, and here's why we're experimenting with it.
Yep.
You know, I don't know if everybody gets the same emails as sellers and buyers do from eBay, but newsflash, eBay is encouraging you to buy things with free shipping.
Right.
I don't know if everybody realizes that or not, but on the weekly, they're sending emails that say, hey, take advantage of free shipping today. So eBay thinks it's a great idea. Whether we do as sellers or not is irrelevant. They're saying to buyers, this is a good thing.
Yep.
So how do you compete with that other than to experiment to see if it's going to make a difference? So we're working into our price. Some of them, not a couple of things. We're working in a little bit higher price because we know we're going to have a sale and it's going to come down anyway. So we don't want to start too low and then we're behind it when we go to put it on sale. And then we're going to try to experiment with that free shipping, because there are shoe sales people that do it and do very well at it. So,
I think we should, not to get off of the shoe topic completely, but I think we should talk about the skirt.
Oh yeah. And then we'll have a topic.
Okay. So,
are you going to get it?
Yeah, it's right here.
So basically my version of this story is,
can you tell like what we got and what it was?
I found something really cool at the bins or the outlet.
How many months ago was this?
That was our very first trip, and Tiffany and James were there, and we were getting ready to leave. You were in line, and as I often do when we're about to leave, I get distracted. Pulled on this thing that was denim that I hadn't noticed earlier, and kept pulling. And we've talked about this particular skirt before. It's a 7 fam, modest long skirt. I know that it measures 52 inches from flare side to flare side because I had to measure it this morning. But we paid, how much did it weigh, or did we think we paid for it?
We paid about $2.75 for it by weight.
Yep, and it sold today for
$100.
All me.
So after shipping costs, we did do free shipping on that one, but it will fit in a padded flat rate, believe it or not. And we did free shipping on it, so it's going to cost me $6.30 to ship it. So after all that, we will net like 70. I think it ended up being like about $78.
I'm good with that.
So on a $2.50, or maybe it's $2.60, whatever it was like a $2.50 purchase. Pretty happy about that. Sometimes they go for a little higher. They will go for, like 110, 120. But this particular buyer had already submitted an offer for 75, which my setup had auto rejected because it wasn't high enough. And then they asked the question about the photos, and I sent them the photos and asked them if it helped, and they said it did. And then they offered the 100. So I'm like, you know what? They're really interested in this. I hate to turn down somebody like that. And hopefully it'll be great for them. So we were pretty excited about that. I mean, that's a nice sale. Anytime you can sell something like that, and kind of an unusual item. You're not going to see a lot of 7 for All Mankind modest long denim skirts like that.
No, it was absolutely gorgeous, and we've never seen one. And when we did our research, there've only ever been a couple. I actually thought that it was a home spun job. I thought that someone had actually taken panels of denim and created it based on a 7 fam waist, but that wasn't it at all. And so we were happy with that. Now, if they could just all be that way. So,
guys, and I think there's a great lesson there too. I probably could have held out for another $15, $20, although some of those skirts only sell for like 80. So 100 is somewhere in that middle range. But when you're dealing with a person who's already put in an offer, they've asked you a question, you've answered it, they're thankful for the help you gave them. I look at it like it's just good business to sell it to them at that point, even if it's a little bit lower than what you wanted, because chances are they're going to like it. Like, they're interested in it. They wanted to know additional information about it, and we gave it to them, and they were thankful for that. So we decided, hey, just get it out the door, get it gone. It's great profit either way. I mean, you can't go wrong with that kind of profit margin. And it was nice to sell it because, it was a nice find. So
yeah, and gives me bragging rights for that day, right?
Yeah.
I didn't even tell Tiffany that it sold today, so I'll have to send her a text. But pro tip on that one, in addition to sending them photos and just being very forthcoming with information, we actually sent them more information than they needed.
Yeah.
I took a picture of waste.
You took a bunch of pictures.
I took 3, well, 4.
5.
5?
You took 5.
So I showed with the measuring tape, I took the waist again. I also did the hips because that's pretty much the uniform weight all the way down. And then I did tip to tip, and then I did a full length, and I don't remember what the 5th one is. But here's the pro tip part of that. In addition to under promise, over deliver. So answer their question in the most thorough way possible. But here's the bonus for you. If you answer that question via photographs, you can post those photographs to the listing.
Yep.
So then if that question ever comes up again, there it is right there. So you're not having to repeat that work again. So remember that if you're having to remeasure or take additional photographs, put it right on the listing. In this case, happy ending, we sold them today. But in the event that comes up again, then you've covered it.
And that's a great tip, Karen. You can always add your reply to a buyer to your listing, because there might be somebody else out there who has the same question, and now you've just answered it without having to answer it a second time.
Mm-hmm.
That's never happened to me, I don't think, where I've had to answer it, but I wouldn't really know. If somebody asked me a question this month and 3 months later asked me the same question about the same item, it's not like I'm going to keep track of it. But if I can post it to the listing, they can see if I've already answered it. So
you want to answer some questions before we dive in?
Zerk, hey, what's up, Skip? Zerk says, can we talk about items at the show that show delivered, but the customer says they didn't get it? Do you ever refund in this situation? Boy, that's a tough one.
I don't know that we have. Our first reaction is take it up with the post office, right?
Yeah, your first line of defense there, if the item shows delivered, now if you got signature confirmation, you are totally covered. But even if you've got tracking on it and it shows delivered, most of the time eBay is going to back you up on that. And you could refund if you wanted, but it just really depends on the situation. So situational. I've probably refunded maybe once in that case. And I don't remember the exact situation, but there was a reason why I thought it's possible that what they said happened. There's been several other times where they said, we didn't get it, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden it showed up. Or it said delivered, and they're like, oh, but it went to the wrong address. Okay, but you've got to go talk to that person. And it's not on me to get the address right. It's on the buyer. So, but just make sure, if you got to have tracking on. If you don't have tracking, and if you're not shipping through, I think First Class, does it even have I think it does. I can't remember, but I know Priority Mail has free tracking.
But I don't think we've had one not show up. I mean, there was that one military family that moved, and it was a little hinky because they wanted to give us a different address. But always suggest they check with their postman first, their neighbors second, and then if it's saying delivery confirmation, then it got delivered, then it's an issue that they need to take up with USPS. I don't think we've ever had issue with it.
No, I mean it's so situational though. I mean, because everybody's going to have a story, and not everybody is trying to scam you when that happens, despite what some resellers think. It's not always a scam. Sometimes legitimately something weird happened. We've had it happen here. I had a return. True story, guys. I had a lady return a pair of jeans, and I want to say that she returned them. She shipped them sometime in mid-November, of last year.
I remember.
And they didn't show up. Or, no, wait, let me back up. I shipped them to her. I sold them to her. That was what happened. I sold a pair of jeans to her, and she said they never showed up. And she said that because this or that had happened, she didn't get them. Okay. And I didn't really believe her, to be honest with you, because it sounded weird. Like, I don't remember what the reason was. Something about I had to reprint that label, but I didn't put enough postage on it, because she got 2 items, 2 pair of jeans, but they wouldn't fit in one padded flat rate. And she said, the postman said that this one didn't have enough postage on it. And I'm like, okay, but where is it? Where is it? She didn't have it. I didn't have it. This was in November. And I just thought that maybe she was mistaken or one got lost. Didn't think any more about it. She got her other pair. She was fine with that. It was just the one. I didn't refund her either. The beginning of January, literally 6 weeks after I sold these to her, all of a sudden I get this kind of beaten up looking priority mail flat rate comes back for insufficient postage. It took 6 weeks for that to get back to me because it was a holiday, you know? She was right. I don't know why it didn't go through, but I just reprinted the label and stuck a new one on it and shipped it back to her. Positive feedback. I mean, she still wanted it. She still wanted it, but I mean, she wasn't lying, you know, and that is what probably her postman or postwoman told her. And I don't know why it took over a month to get back to me, but it did. It was sitting around in a mail bin somewhere, and I think she was in Pennsylvania. It was sitting around in a mail bin in Pennsylvania, and they were just in no hurry to ship it back to me. It's like, oh, when we get to those, and they just didn't get to it. So not everybody who, not every buyer is trying to scam you. And I've had people ship stuff back to me and it take a lot longer than it should have. It should be back to me in 3 business days or 4 business days, and it'll take 2 weeks. I mean, things happen, you know, so just, operate under the assumption that buyers are not trying to scam you. And yeah, sometimes you're going to get scammed even if you don't, even if you try to be really good. But anyway, let's move forward. We're going to get to the topic. We're way behind schedule. How did this happen?
I'm always on.
I'm always behind. All right, so let's talk about the show topic. For all you guys playing along at home, here comes the show topic. 36 minutes into the show.
And is there a topic?
There is a topic.
Really a topic?
So someone mentioned about eBay couples therapy, that they thought our last show was sort of like that. And
aren't they all therapy though?
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of. So we're just going to roll with that. So we do what we do the way we do it. And if you're here, great. We're glad you are. Maybe we're, not for everybody. Moving on.
And Zerk, yes, I ate the postage on it. I did. Because I never really paid it. So it wasn't like I really ate it, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so we want to talk about what it's like to work with your significant other. Maybe it's your husband, your wife. Maybe it's even just somebody who's a good friend, potentially. But we think there's a lot of things to think about with working with your spouse, your mate, whatever you are to me.
Your mate. What?
What did I call you yesterday? Winch?
You did not just say that.
All right, winch is not a bad derogatory term.
They're going to let you have it for that. I'm just saying.
If you look it up, it actually says an attractive girl. If you look up the definition, it does. And then there's an urban definition of it talking about, a voluptuous, attractive, spicy pirate woman.
Digging. So
anyway,
out of this one.
And this show always delivers. But anyway, so when you work with your significant other like we do, there are some challenges, which I've so well illustrated. It is a compliment. Look it up. But there are some challenges. What sort of challenges do you think there are, Karin?
Oh, where to start on this one? Well, I think one of the biggies is is just being able to separate the two. And, the whole you're from Mars, I'm from Venus kind of thing. We're going to just innately approach things and react to things differently. So I think to start off, we just need to keep it separate, keep emotion out of it, and try to, and you and I have gotten a lot better. And we talked a couple shows ago. I think that's why we, probably got accused of couples therapy or whatever, is that we talked a couple shows ago about how we've learned to communicate better with each other as just mates anyway. So that can only help us in business. And the shoe, there were probably several segues into this topic earlier on when we were talking about shoes and everything, but we each bring different things to the table. And our toolboxes, our strengths, our, what we have that will benefit the business are going to be different. And that's grand, because I think that's why we have learned to work as well together as we have.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not even Talk Like a Pirate Day and you had to call me a pirate.
People are talking about winches.
Yeah, I see that. Arr.
I mean, obviously, you know, when you're emotionally involved with someone, you're intimately involved with someone, and then you go into business with them, which has emotion in it, but there's also a lot of, you know, dispassionate logic and strategy and tactics and things you need to do in business. It can be hard to separate those two different mindsets. So it's really important, I think, when you're working together, to not look at each other as, you know, as your husband or wife or what have you, because if you do that, that line gets really blurry. I mean, it's really blurry, and we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to these other points. But
I think well, we could just say that the benefits outweigh the detriments. How's that?
Yeah, the benefits are, guys, like, you have someone who's truly a partner, and they care about your success. They care about you as a person. They care about, you know, what you think and how, you know, and they treat you as such. It's not just an employee or a boss or even a business partner. So those are some advantages, as long as you can focus that into, you know, your business strategy, whatever it is. And you don't let that part, it's like you can't let either world overtake the other one, is kind of the tricky part to this.
Well, and they have I think that a family member, I mean, it's more than just significant other, but since we're talking about partners and significant others, there's more of a vested interest, I think, in the business, because it's about making, you know, building up your partner and supporting your partner to succeed, but it's also benefiting this household.
Right.
So wouldn't it be in my best interest, your best interest, to do whatever we can to make the business better? And
yeah.
I think we do that.
And Vintage Grab says, well-identified roles really help. Totally agree. Totally agree. And I think we have done overall a really good job of that.
Well, we've overdone it.
Yep.
Because we see it as a necessary Vintage, that we, I can't agree more. So we sort of overdo it when it comes to, we over-exaggerate certain parts of the business and our structure, our day-to-day. So, I mean, we have meetings. We also don't take
we
it
have
for
a meeting.
Like the fact that we're not the norm. I don't know. It didn't go cha-ching though.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
Is that the skirt?
Yeah, the skirt. They just paid for it
because
it was the best offer.
$100. You'll have to take me to lunch. But you know, you can't take it for granted. Like, that was a hurdle for us early on, is that you took for granted that this person was going to be able to read your mind, or
right.
that you're always going to work on this, or you know, so we define our roles, we have meetings, we set goals, we have a plan, we have a calendar, a schedule, a
strategy we stick to. Yep.
And we're able to, especially when things, because when emotion is involved, you can only take it so much out of the business part of it, but we're also able to identify when there's a potential conflict. Just, all right, take a minute. That's not what I said, or that's not what I meant to say, you know, my tone of voice being whatever. And we dial it back a little bit and re-present.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that, you know, the third point we had, guys, is business can bleed over into personal and personal into business. And we're already talking about that. And, you know, you have to, when we're doing and that's one of the things we have struggled with a little bit, is because sometimes when we're not working the business, we're still talking about it. It's still the subject of conversation. And I've been trying to get a little bit better about that. Like, yesterday was a non-business day. Sundays have been days off.
That's 2 Sundays in a row. High five. And I think I pointed out last Monday that it was kind of nice.
Yep.
And you didn't, like, I noticed it right away, because you tend to talk about it. It sort of wiggles its way into,
right.
And that's not a bad thing, but it kind of, you know, it almost sets us up. It's almost defensive. Like, right when you start talking about something that we're not on that page, like if it's Sunday evening and we're about to have dinner or we're about to do whatever, and you immediately jump into, my defense or my impulse there is to just tune you out.
Right.
Because it's just not, I'm not feeling it in that moment.
Sure.
And so that's been kind of a joy the last two, and it's not a criticism that that's what we do, but it is really nice to be able to completely disconnect from the business, because when it comes up that we are going to talk about the business sort of impromptu in those moments where, because you have to be able to, if you have this epiphany, and I have them all the time, but when you have this epiphany that you want to say, oh, well, we should really try to do this week, you should be able to do that and not feel guilty about it. But also that your words are going to not fall on deaf ears. So there's that.
It's important to have downtime, because then Karin and I both, we can look at, say, Sunday, that's an off day. So it's not a day we need to be pondering all these, hey, I wonder how many we're going to have shipped tomorrow, or what are we going to do sourcing wise, or what are we going to list? I mean, that can wait till Monday. And it did. And I think that's important. Like that allows you to sort of compartmentalize your life, and, because there's other things to life than this business, right? And I know, Yvonne, you were in here a moment ago, and I know you talked about this on another channel, but this idea you've got to go, give 100% every 100% of the time, live and breathe this 24/7. That's not reality for most people. Mm-hmm. It's just not. And I'm not even sure it's very healthy, certainly not in the long run, because there's more to life than this. I mean, this is a tool to help get to the things that are important. So I don't want our business to ever be, that's not what defines us. Like if somebody said, hey, if somebody asked me, hey, Jason, who are you? I'm not going to say I'm a reseller. I mean, that's what I do, but it's not who I am. And I think that's a good distinction.
Yeah, I agree. And why are we self-employed? Why are we entrepreneurs? Why do we work from home? If one of the benefits to that isn't that we can,
have downtime and set our own schedules.
And when, bumps in the road happen, like last week, we can take extra time personally to get to them. And that's another thing that we've gotten better about. When a bump occurs, or when our day doesn't go as planned, we're not beating ourselves up over it anymore, because it's demotivating.
Right.
And it's wasted energy.
It's going to happen. And
we were talking about something else today about, I'm a bottom line kind of girl. So as long as we get there, I'm good with that. We might have to adapt and improvise along the way, but I'm all right with it.
Yep. The fourth point, we have 5, but this is the fourth one. And these are like all about me, I've noticed, things that I have to do. But
it's usually...
And I made them up, so
it's
whatever.
It's usually all about me, so if you have just 15 minutes in the day, I think it's okay.
All right, so making decisions by fiat is not a good idea. So in other words, when you're working with your significant other, especially if you have maybe you're tag teaming the whole business, like you're both doing strategy, you're both doing the tactics, you're both doing sourcing, you're both doing this, you're both doing that. Making decisions by just deciding that, hey, this is the way it's going to be going forward, and then telling the other person that's how it's going to be, not a good idea for lots of reasons. And we've had to learn that. I've had to learn that a lot, because when I started doing this, it was just me. Karin was not involved at all. I mean, she knew I was, running this business, but you were not a part of it really in any way.
And thank heaven I came along when I did.
Yes, seriously. But to be able to pivot and realize that, all right, she's involved in it now, and she's not an employee. I mean, she's more like a strategic partner, and I have to involve her in the decision-making process in terms of what we talk about, how we're going to resolve this or that issue, which way we're going to go. And what I found is that by doing that, she comes up with perspectives and ideas and methods that I never would have thought of. And so there's great value in that. It's not just that you avoid the conflict on the front end, you also gain, this business acumen from this other person having a different perspective. And they gain too. Like, I think she's learned things from me as well. And so between us, we come up with a better solution than we could have on our own, I think. So that's been a big takeaway for me. And the last one is, I'm sorry, do you want to add something to that?
No, you're doing great.
I was giving points by fiat there. Building something together can be kind of magical and enriching to your lives. I mean, people get, people get together and they have children, and that's obviously a magical and enriching experience and ongoing event for their whole life. But, how many other things can you say you've built together? Sometimes you buy a house together, build it together. Building a business together is a pretty cool thing, because you started with nothing and then you have something, and it allows you to do other things. And that's really attractive to me, because, I've been involved in a couple other businesses in my life and had other people involved with me, and it's never quite worked out for various reasons. And I realized I've learned what mistakes I made and what mistakes they made too, but I've learned along the way. But I've always believed that, if we can build something together, it's going to be so much more enriching than just saying, hey, Karen, look at this great reselling business I have. Aren't you proud of me? She may be proud of me, but it's not like she was involved with it, and so I've always wanted that to be a part of our MO, what we do, who we are, the thing, it. I was running out of words there.
It's so magical and enriching. Those are his words, by the way. He showed me.
They're literally written on the sheet.
Yeah, that's not the Karen influence there. Usually rainbows and unicorns are me, but in this instance, magical and enriching.
Okay, so just to recap those really quickly, there definitely can be challenges working with your significant other. There's also benefits, obviously, so you got to identify those and work towards those. Business bleeding over into personal to business, not a good idea. You have to find ways to separate.
Balance.
Right, exactly. Making decisions all on your own without involving the other person is almost always a bad idea. Even though they may say, you make all the decisions and I'll just follow. I'm just talking to the men out there right now. That's code for don't you dare make a decision without talking to me about it. I hope you didn't hear that. But
you're so silly.
Because it's just a bad idea, guys, because and women too, because you're just going to generate resentment and this feeling of inadequacy in the other person, like they don't think that you care about what they think. And also you're going to hurt your results, because you're going to get a better result when you talk to the other person, you talk it through. I mean, they don't want you to fail. So, they're going to see it a different way. And then finally, building something together can be really enriching for your relationship and your life together. Number 5. So hopefully those all made sense. That was our our couples therapy. Are we using this as therapy?
Of course we are.
Because
we talked about, this is our water cooler. These are our coworkers. This is our office space. And so when we come on here, especially in the live chat, and if you're watching this later, we hope that you saw the title and didn't come here expecting some, holy grail of how to solve your life's problems or how to sell the most or make the most or whatever. But,
Yeah. But it's a realistic topic, guys, because a lot of you out there, I've seen the chat and I've seen read comments from others. A lot of you are working with your husband or wife in some capacity, and or girlfriend or boyfriend or fiance or whomever. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think there's a lot of benefits, but you need to identify those benefits and, maximize those while also trying to minimize the conflicts that inevitably are going to come up. And it all starts too, I guess, with, just communicating with the other person.
Yeah.
I mean, we've definitely gotten a lot better at that part, not letting things, simmer or just, Fester. That's the word I was looking for. Uncle Fester. Was that the Addams Family or was that the Munsters?
Yes.
Munsters.
So we have like a little window of Q&A.
Yes, we have all of about 7 minutes.
Can we fit it all? So if you have a question on the live chat, just question mark, or all caps or something, and we'll do our best to put on our, what was it I'm going to date myself here, but Johnny Carson, he would put the turban on.
Oh yeah, he was, what was that guy? He played a character. Oh, I can't remember. Not Zoltan.
Zolt. No, that was the thing that you put the money in and the card comes spitting out.
No, yeah, I don't remember who it was, but he played anyway. Yeah, Johnny. Why are we asking about this?
No, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to put on our turban here and ask. We don't even have time to do your updates.
I know, not much of an update.
We're selling stuff.
Yeah, I was going to tell you guys too, just really quickly, just results on the month. It's interesting. Like we've listed 150 jeans and sold 91. I don't know. Is that this month? I don't know. Is that a lot? But our average sale price is decent, $17.18 plus $8 in shipping income. So just over 25 bucks per pair and netting $11.77, which is actually the highest monthly total of the year so far. We're only in month 3, but definitely moving up.
Well, and we're working toward that though. We're making a conscious effort to make that number in particular higher.
Right. So Karnak, that was it. It was Karnak the Magnificent. Thank you. But yeah, so I mean, and going back to the sort of the nuts and bolts question here a minute ago, just shoes, guys. Average selling price should be really high. Average profit should be good. So that's why we're moving in that direction for those who came in late. Somebody was asking about that. Somebody had a question, I think. How many listings do you add per day?
That's a great question.
Well, this month, we kind of had a little bit of a hiccup last week, but we have listed so far on this month 186. We're a little behind our goal pace, I think, because we need to be at 319. We have 11 days to go. So that's 14. That's like 133 to go. That's not that many per day.
No. And we have whatever we have left, which we've already gone through all of our jeans, and we're kind of tweaking that strategy as well. But we're going to spend this next week getting everything else listed, and then we're going to have to go and source jeans and shoes. But we are doing shoes every day now, though. It's part of our loop. We didn't talk about that earlier.
Yeah.
So we're literally, since we drive to the post office to drop off our shipments every day, because we're not really able to schedule pickups here, we are going to stop and look at the shoes. And then Wednesday, we're actually going to do something different where we have 2 other stops plus a post office. So there's that.
Let's see. Vintage says ETA on new shitty. I just
and then you said it again.
On new shoe video.
By the end of the week, we'll have the shoe video out by the end of the week.
Yeah, it's just when you put out a non-live video, guys, there's definitely an editing process, and that's what takes the most time in a lot of cases. It's not shooting it and reshooting it; it's just the editing. Average price you buy merchandise for sale to sold. Ask. This year so far, we are at, let's see, $252 on the year.
And that includes shoes now too,
yep,
right?
that includes shoes.
Everything. Our
average price we pay for items is $2.52. Now, these are clothing items, guys, so they're obviously going to be lower than if you went out and were buying like iPhones to flip. So $2.52, I mean, that's decent. It's not a bin strategy only, but jeans are a little over $2 at the bins on average. There's been some full-priced thrift store items we've bought in there. There's been some suits and blazers, which are more. They're like $8 or $10 if you get a whole suit. So we've obviously bought some other items that have pushed that up, but that's actually coming down, that cost per item.
And we've been working on that.
Yep.
That's also something we're making a conscious effort to bring that cost down and our how we sell things up. So lowering the cost, raising the price on purpose. And
that's and I've talked about this before, guys. If you can lower the cost you pay for something, all right, and you can raise your average sale price, you make extra profit without really doing anything that different. You're just having to find cheaper sources of items and just listing a little bit higher. It's not like you're having to go find a whole new set of items.
What about that one?
Yeah, that's a little easier said than done.
That's relevant.
Rags asks, what point did the 2 of you decide to leave normal work, whatever that means, to take a stab at full-time selling on eBay?
Well, you started before me. Drive here. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, thank you. So you started before me. I joined the fray when I just couldn't take my ridiculous regular job anymore. And we've talked about that before.
Yeah,
so.
Which you'd been at for several years.
Yeah.
And I'd started really a few years back, but
full-time, it's just been within the last couple of years.
Right? Yeah, it just sort of morphed, There was things that happened and, some life stuff that happened that kind of pushed me in that direction. I'd always known that this is what I was not necessarily reselling, but I was born to be in business for myself, because working for someone else just didn't fit for lots of reasons. And I tried it for a long time in different capacities, and I had some success at it. That's the interesting thing, just because you're good at something doesn't mean you should do it. It may not be what fulfills you and what you really want to do, even if you are good at it. And society tells you, become good at your job and that will fulfill you. Nope. I fundamentally disagree with that logic. I mean, there's plenty of people who work jobs and are good at them, but don't like it. They do it because they feel like they have to.
Yeah. And, so Jason's kind of a numbers guy. This may come as a surprise to some of you, but I can't remember the exact day, but at some point you came to me and said, I've been crunching the numbers and I've been looking at this, and I think I can do this full time. I think I can make a living. Like, do you remember when you were projecting like jean sales and you were projecting sales forward, you were like, he just kept saying over and over again that it's going to work, and the numbers are proving that it's going to work.
Right.
And I can just remember fairly early on, you decided that you could really make a go of this.
Right. Right.
And then, when you have a partner that's doing it, and numbers don't lie, it's the one, we talk about that all the time, that it's all about the math, the prof math. But when you have a partner that's doing it, just imagine how strong you can be with two people. And so that's what we're working toward. By the end of this year, we'll be full-time.
Yep.
Full-time plus, and then some.
Ron asked, I want to check I think that's inventory. Is there a way to download an Excel spreadsheet from eBay so I can check it against the inventory I have in stock? You absolutely can. You can download the file exchange. You can go to the file exchange and select your active listings and download a list. Now, it's just going to pull down lots of info in columns. Like, it's going to pull down like when you listed and whatever parameters are set up there. But to go in and to like verify that against your own might be a little tricky unless you have that custom label field out. So then you could sort of sort by that, and you could sort your inventory by it, and you could just, you can make some comparisons. Is it an easy way to do it? I don't know if that's that easy. I don't think it's super hard, but it's definitely could be time consuming. So unfortunately, I don't think eBay's inventory system is the best. So,
and we've talked though about, we've encouraged people to do regular periodic inventory checks. Because
you'll miss things.
Glitches in the matrix occur all the time. And if you're not either in the listing title itself or somewhere identifying your inventory space to that item,
right?
First of all, work on that. But you've got to have a way to reconcile. And we definitely recommend doing that on a regular and periodic basis. Don't just do it once at the end of the year. It won't be enough.
Yeah, I kind of waited last year to do it at the end, and but anyway.
And Alan says he feels bad for his girlfriend because she's miserable at her job, and any insight into that? Well, Alan, this is what I would say to her personally. Let's just pretend it's just her and I talking. You put up with that as long as you can. In my case, some things happened that I just couldn't do it anymore. And it was a terrible situation that I was in. And we've kind of talked about it before. I don't want to go into a lot of detail, but you do what you got to do for as long as you can do it. And then you take a leap of faith, and you have to have faith that it's going to work out. And even if it doesn't, it's interesting how when we're put in desperate times, desperate measures, when we're put in a situation where we have to put up or shut up, if you will, we're either going to produce and we're going to make it with this online business, or we're not. And I would say to her, just if it's really that bad, it is not worth the loss of your mental health and also whatever stress it's putting on your relationship. I don't know whatever your personal deal is, but I was coming home and bringing all of the BS with me, and I was taking it out on Jason, and I was taking it out on my son, and it was having an adverse effect on all three of us. And to me, I could have worked at McDonald's, honestly, and it would have been better. Like, I wish that I had come to that decision earlier, and I don't think we would have gotten to some of the points that we got to.
That was hard.
It was very hard. And I didn't see it in the moment. but we're able to talk about it now, and I can look back and see where I was miserable during the day. I mean, there were some saving graces throughout my day that would actually get me through, but they were few and far between. You know, I had one person that I could talk to and walk with or whatever. But afterwards, I look back and not only was I miserable, but I was making everybody in my life miserable.
Yeah.
So if you can afford to do it, get out as soon as you can and you have to hustle. And sometimes I think when we're put in that position where we have to work hard and we have to hustle, and whether or not our electric bill gets paid or not is based on the hustle of that day, I think that speaks volumes to what we're able to do in our output. So I don't mean to get all passionate and on my own soapbox about that, but I am an advocate for, you know, at some point, you can't just keep going through the motions when it's having a negative impact on every other part of your life. You know, when your girlfriend, Alan, and you get, I don't know what your future plans are together or whatever, but let's say the two of you make it to 80 together, you're not going to look back and she's not going to say, man, I wish I worked more. Mm-hmm. No, you're just not. So There you go.
That was great.
Oh, don't even get me started on that.
That was a Karen, not a rant, but just a thing. I don't know. When
I feel strongly, you'll hear it. Like the volume will change, my pitch will change. But he asked me directly, any insight, and that's
great. That was great insight.
So get her out of there and tell her I said so.
Yeah, and somebody said, I think Rag said, but they would hesitate dropping the security of a steady paycheck, even at a stressful job. Rags, there is no security.
Oh yeah,
doesn't exist. You could be fired, laid off, have your pay slashed, have your benefits slashed, have your work changed, any and all those things at any time for any reason or no reason. There is no job security. It is such a myth.
Well, and do you remember the first time you told me, and my ego didn't take it so well, but just let's get through what you said and not how you said it or whatever. But everybody is replaceable.
Yep.
And you may feel like you're this integral part of how the day-to-day, but you're not the owner of the company.
They won't get rid of me ever.
And nobody has job security. And Alan, if you want, send me an email. It's in the, if you're on a PC, it's in the abouts. But if you need me to talk to her one-on-one, I'd be more than happy to do that, because obviously I'm passionate about it. And your mental health and your emotional health are so much more important than making the money for somebody else. Right. But once I came to terms with the fact that I'm replaceable, imagine that, it was a lot easier. Like I could, as much as we want to say in corporate America, you know, oh, they cannot function without me. Newsflash, they can. And probably by the next day you're gone, you're like, Karen who? And that's not, I mean, that's just how it works. That's not, don't take that personally. It is what it is. So get that chip off your shoulder, move on. And it's about making a better life for yourself, making a living, and preferably at your own pace and on your own terms, and not leaving it up to someone else, because that's what you're doing when you work for somebody else. You are completely replaceable. Yep. There's no job security anymore. Like there may have been, you know, for our parents or grandparents, it's 180 degrees. Life is not, you know, we're not.
I mean, I mean, Ford Motor Company didn't stop once Henry Ford died. And he started the company. I mean, these things have a life of their own, and they're going to continue with or without you. Mm-hmm. You know, they're not going to say, oh, well, she's gone, let's just pack it up and, you know, call it a day and declare bankruptcy. And that's not going to happen, because that's just not the way a company is going to be built. Like, I wouldn't build my company that way. I would not build my company to the point where if one person left, it would all fall apart. That's just not very wise. Mm. That's just because what happens if they quit? Because they might, you know, so you cannot build a company that way and without walking an incredibly dangerous tightrope of, you know, what happens when they fall off the other side and you no longer have them. It just does not make any sense. So,
and to bring it back to a reseller perspective here, it's all in the hustle. And if you're put in a position where, you know, I get that some people do this part-time, some people do it full-time, some people do it as a hobby, some people do it as a living. Well, your effort has a direct reflection on your results. So
Sure.
if you need to make the money, then you need to make the hustle. And the hustle is just not every now and then. It has to be consistent. It has to be long-term. It has to be repetitive.
And it's mental and it's physical. It's both together. You need both.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, because people who work, you know, you can go work on the back of an asphalt truck and you're going to work hard, but you're not going to get rich doing that. You're not going to even be well off necessarily unless you own the asphalt company. But, you know, you're going to work your butt off and it's going to be hard work a lot of times. So it's not just enough to work hard. You've got to have that intelligence about you. You've got to have that business acumen. I'm not talking about necessarily book smarts, just, you know, the street smarts and the ability to, you know, apply a strategy to something and then go execute it, whatever that looks like. And I mean, you're right. I mean, we had lots of talks about that. People have to, and everybody's got to come to their own terms with that. But, you know, I think I read a stat the other day that said the average person is laid off or downsized something like 7 times in their lifetime. And most of those times, they don't know that it's coming. Like they might hear that there's layoffs coming, but they're like, they're not going to get rid of me because I do awesome. I'm great. I got 5 stars on my last performance review. Doesn't matter.
Sorry, I just went to Office Space again. We started the show with Office Space. And I just, that where he cuts out the thing and gives himself a window view and the thing goes falling. But it's interesting to me that when we came back to this, we came like full circle to the topic again, as far as couples therapy go. Like here's something I haven't thought about in a long time that we've talked about. Let me just put them together.
Okay.
So my desk job, my corporate job, was having an effect on this business.
Yep.
Months ago, years ago, right? So think about that for a second. Not only because we work together are we directly affecting each other, but our just interaction in general affects. And that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother show. Actually, it's a similar topic, but think about that. Our actions and our words affect each other all the time in all ways.
Yes, totally agree. You know, guys, and you've got to find your own sweet spot with, you know, how you want to make a living in this world, what you want to do, what defines success to you. And there's plenty of people out there who love the idea of going to a job, whatever that job is every day, and having job security, which doesn't really exist.
Again, I'll edit your end quote.
And hoping that one day at the end of it all, at some point in the future, there will be a small little pot of gold that they can just live out their golden years on. And the reality is it's not that way for most people. And they get to that point and they get chopped back down a few times and they have to try to build back up again. And they go here and they go there. And then they get to the end and it's a struggle because you're putting someone else in charge of your financial destiny as long as they sign your paycheck. You are. And if you can do that, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's risky. I mean, I think it's too risky. Like I would rather have the risk of being in business for myself and failing than working at a job and failing. Because remember, guys, if you're working at a job for someone else, you're living in their entrepreneurial dream. Somebody started that company somewhere, sometime, and it's morphed into whatever it is today. And you're just living as part of their dream, but they can fail too. And if they fail, you will be drugged right along with them. You will go out the door before they do for the most part. Like the CEO of the company or the president or just maybe your boss is not going to fire themselves or lay themselves off before they fire you or lay you off. So, and that's just the way it goes because it's their company. That's just what they're going to do. And you would probably do the same thing. So, you know, find what you want your dream to be, live it however you want to live it, but just make sure that you're not caught up in this illusion that someone else has your best financial interest at heart that signs your paycheck, because they don't.
And think about how you're affecting the personal relationships in your life as well.
And
are you willing to sacrifice one for the other? And I would hope that the answer is no. We only get this shot once, right? So
yep.
Let's make the most of it while we're here.
Yep.
And hey, lots of folks stayed with us over the 60-minute mark today, and we appreciate that. And in honor of our own version of pirates today and our choice of words, if you like what you see, matey, smash the like button.
See, now that was more like a pirate.
Yeah, it was Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob, actually.
I'm not familiar with that show. I didn't watch it.
There you go.
It was beyond my time.
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? SpongeBob SquarePants. Come on, somebody.
We just had this long, like 15-minute, awesome piece of business and life advice.
And
and then you end it with SpongeBob.
And
just totally wreck all of our credibility.
No. So here's the thing. It was still awesome. We loved being here. And whenever I get to be, serious and passionate and on a soapbox, I love it. No, I don't think it's that often.
Oh, that's true.
But it's still awesome. And I'm just comic relief. I'm here to remind you guys.
That's not true.
You're
not that funny. Ha ha.
But I'm here to remind you to just keep it light. If we can't laugh at ourselves, we just can't laugh.
We'll depend on other people to laugh at us.
Yeah. So we're always having fun. It's about, just smile. Just smile more, criticize less.
There you go.
Smile more, frown less. I don't know.
Hey guys, one quick thing before we take off though. I am working on getting someone on a not really a Connect show, more like a revenue wrap. Yeah, someone who is a expert at merch by Amazon, as well as other things. And I don't want to say who it is yet and what they do, but look for that video or look for that show coming out soon. So set those reminders so that you can get notified when it comes out, because he's awesome and in so many ways. So I'm trying to set that up for this week. We'll see if we can get that done. And that'll be a cool show to check out. If you've ever been interested in merch by Amazon, I'm not going to go into all what that is right now, but it's a pretty cool program where you get to design your own designs and shirts and things like that. All right, so I guess they need to leave a comment or a question if they have it in the section below.
Yeah, in below.
And you already did.
Watching this later.
You already did the like button.
I did. Somebody, Adam, gotta love Adam, called me Miss Popeye. But
Miss
look
Popeye.
at all the
that would be
Krabby Pants in the chat. I love it. But so we'll have this at some point, either Tuesday or Thursday night. We're thinking another revenue wrap. We're going to do a live show on Friday because we need to kind of catch everybody up on some real number updates.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get that that other video out. And we're working on some other kind of funny, content-y kind of stuff too. So thank you. I
don't know.
But thanks for everybody. It was great to see you. We're glad to be back. It's always, like I said, I feel like we're starting behind if we don't have a great weekend Friday show. So let's all hit it hard this week. Have a wonderful week. We're off to a great start. And we'll
see you soon.
Yeah, we will see you soon.
Prof Sales
and Karin saying good sales to you.